So my goal here is to explain to the best of my ability the current burger percent world record. I'm going to be breaking it down and explaining, as good as I can, exactly what I'm doing so that you can apply it to your own runs. So what I'm doing here is I'm starting from a load file. I do that because if I were to start from a new game, I'd have to wait those 48 some seconds of just looking at the cutscene, which is boring. As far as I know, this only works in the Japanese version, which, speaking of the Japanese version, I'm going to post a screenshot here of 2K explaining how to convert your digital Xbox One copy to the Japanese version. Unfortunately, I can't show this myself. I don't have an Xbox One. All you have to do to make one yourself is exactly what I'm doing here. Start a new game, wait for the second cutscene to play, make a save file, and you're pretty much done. All you have to do to compensate for starting a bit later is to add 47.95 seconds to the start of your time. Now, you can't actually lose time before the first door opens because it's always going to open at the same time. That being said, it is a smart idea to hold forward so you can get up as soon as you can, so you just aren't lollygagging around, I guess. And then you're going to want to go ahead and grab the vest now instead of later because the door will open a bit sooner the second time we're in this room. And since we can't lose time right now, it makes sense to grab it. To get the right angle on this door, I keep walking into it and I adjust a little more to the left each time until when I go over the middle, I just barely don't get caught on it. This is something that you'll learn pretty quickly if you try it for yourself. In this first hallway, you can fit in 2 jumps, which will get you pretty much perfectly to this corner, at which point you turn left and fit in 1 jump. If you try and fit in 2, you will hit the load zone a bit sooner, but your positioning won't be very good for the next set of jumps, which, speaking of the next set of jumps, right when the load zone goes away is when you want to start turning left. Aim for the right-hand corner of the next hallway you see. You can fit in 2 jumps here, and once you get to that corner, you want to turn slightly right. You can fit in another jump here, turn a little bit left to center yourself with the hallway, and then turn right and jump into the first room. Center yourself with this red circle and start mashing Y so you can hit the dialogue option as soon as possible. In most cases, Y is faster, except for one, but that's not important for the burger percent route. After he is finished speaking, you're going to want to go ahead and mash up and down on the right stick as fast as you possibly can, so that way you can hit the red one and then the blue one as soon as possible. Exiting the room, the way I line myself up is I position my camera against the door with the center of the door on the left side of my camera and the edge of the door on the right side. Exiting this room, you can make 1 jump to the corner, turn a little left, make another jump to get to the entrance to the second room. Turn left and make sure you keep holding left long enough. If you don't, you're going to end up doing a slow jump. You can fit in 1 jump to the first keycard, mash X to grab it, and turn right so that way you're lined up with the first keycard terminal. Jump to the keycard terminal and mash X to access it. As soon as the animation is finished, you can hold right and swoop around to the front, which should give you pretty good positioning for the gap jump. Speaking of the gap jump, this is something you don't really have a cue for, it's kinda just something you gotta feel out. Once you've landed after the gap jump, as soon as the screen stops shaking is when you do your next jump input. This will actually allow you to jump slightly less farther than normal, which will allow you to get into the right positioning such that you don't hit the wall and have to take a second to crouch. You can just crouch immediately. When going under the little thingy while you're crouching, as soon as you get to the other side, angle it such that the ladder is in the center of your screen. Press Y to get up and run off to the ladder. Don't jump, as this will actually lose time because of how long you're in the air. Once you've landed, stop holding forward temporarily, mash X so that you grab the ladder, and then start holding forward again. Once you get to the top here, turn left a bit, and wait a second so that when you jump, you don't land on the second ladder. You go over it and land right where you're supposed to. Crouch and angle your camera so that way this line right here is at the center of your screen. This is important for the bar positioning. Speaking of the bar positioning, get up as soon as you can And this part isn't really something I can explain. The bar is the most nuanced and important part of the run. Turn too little and you won't grab the bar at all. Wait too long to jump and you won't grab the bar at all. Turn too much and you'll grab it a bit too close to the start of the area, which will take you much, much longer to get to the other side. Once you're on the bar, hold left and look down, so that way you can have a visual cue for when to get off. For me, after the edge of the floor reaches the bottom of your camera, take one more shuffle, and as soon as the shuffle after that one more shuffle starts, then you can drop, which at this point you want to turn left, so that way you can jump and be in good positioning to grab the thing. I don't know what to call that. This door has a similar situation to the previous one. I want to angle it such that the center is on the left side of my camera and the edge of it is on the right side. Similar to the last one, I also jump out of this one based on reaction when the door opens. Now getting into the last room here, you're gonna want to wait a second before starting your turn. Otherwise, you'll just end up walking straight into the terminal. Now we're going to do what's called access teleportation. An exact explanation of this is not really needed for the burger percent route. This is the only time we're going to be doing it. What you want to do is hold not quite forward, but not quite all the way to the left, a bit between the two. And you're going to want to mash X quite fast. If done correctly, you'll teleport straight in front of the gun and grab it, and when you're done, you'll be straight in front of where the clip is going to come out. Now pull out your gun and start the animation to reload it. Once it's started, you can guard by pushing in on the left stick, which will skip the animation. Now you want to center your camera with where the first target is going to be, and you want to mash the trigger as fast as you possibly can, so that way you can shoot it on the first frame it's hittable. Now that the second set is going to come out, you want to be very diligent here. Be sure that you carefully understand which one he says to do. And if you're switching from one to another, don't switch and immediately pull the trigger, because you will shoot in between switching between the two. You want to switch, wait just a moment, and then pull the trigger. When these are finished, I wait for this last text to come up here, and as soon as it's gone, I give it a second and then pull left trigger, and immediately after that, right trigger. After this, you can just hold in on the left stick until the prompt goes away. After the prompt goes away, you turn around, go back to the terminal, and stand in front of where the gun's gonna be, and mash X, so that way you can put it away as soon as possible. Now that we're leaving this room, this door is a little bit different. I position it such that the little red light thing is on the right side of my camera just a bit, and the center of the door is on the left side of my camera. I once again exit this door based on reaction, jump once after turning on this wall, and you can fit in 2 jumps going back to this corner, fit in 1 jump going back to this corner, and you can fit in 3 jumps going back to the burger. You want to make sure that you are not in any way pointed in the direction of the soda, because you will grab it. If your camera angles a bit too much towards the soda, I jump on the bed, so that way I grab the burger. Now you can take a few minutes to rest. The hard part is pretty much over. Once she starts talking after sitting you down, I mash Y, and then when the dialogue options have gone away, I start mashing X, so that way you can grab her hand and immediately grab this ammo. You really only need 1 clip here. Exiting this area is very similar to the first time we did it. Stand on the right side of Alex because she does move to the left after the door opens. You can fit in 2 jumps, again going back to this corner, 1 going to the load zone, and 2 going back to that corner. Once you turn right, you wait a second for the soldier to shoot you, then jump. Now, this next part's kinda RNG based because the soldier's positioning is random. If the soldier's close to you, you jump on the right side of him. If he's far away, you jump on the left side of him. Once in this room, you want to walk towards the soldiers and shoot them because the closer you are to them, the faster they die. After you see his death animation come up, you switch to the second soldier. After seeing his death animation come up, you switch to the third soldier, and you pretty much just unload your clip on this guy. Stand in front of him and mash X to grab the radio as soon as possible. Depending on your distance between you and the terminal, you can either jump to this keycard terminal or just walk to it. Going through this door, you want to angle your camera such that by your third jump, you're at this corner. After this, you want to turn your camera a bit to the left and jump to this corner. If you wait too long, you'll jump into the next cutscene and you won't be able to do the cutscene jump. This cutscene jump is a rather nuanced part of the run. Optimally, you can do what I did here and jump with your stick not quite forward, but a bit forward and then to the right. This way, we end up on the right-hand wall and a bit above the boxes. At this point, you're going to want to hold forward and mash jump, so that way when the cutscene ends, you just kind of fly over them. Unfortunately, that didn't go this way in the run, but it wasn't significant enough to make a huge difference. Walk through this door and turn right. You can fit in 3 jumps here before turning right again, and fitting in 2 jumps to this corner. Turn left and sort of hug the left wall, but you don't want to get too close, otherwise you'll end up hitting this glass door. You can kind of snake your way between these objects before angling yourself towards the next door and fitting in 2 more jumps. After your second jump, immediately hold right so that your camera is facing towards the next door. Jump immediately such that you can kind of go over the table and aim for the center of the next door so you don't get hung up on it. Turn left and you can fit in 2 jumps to get into the next load zone. Turn left again and you can fit in 2 jumps to almost get to this corner. A third one would put you in the center of the hallway, which isn't optimal to get to the next corner. Speaking of the next corner, you want to angle your camera such that it's the center there, and you can fit in 3 jumps to this one as well. You can fit in 2 jumps on this corner, but it isn't the most optimal positioning. You can fit in 3 jumps to get to the next door, and going through this door, this is kind of something you just have to feel out over time, but your goal is basically to walk sideways through the center of the door so you don't get hung up on it. Once in the room, you can fit in 1 more jump to get to this button. Mash X to access it, and during the cutscene, you want to hold right so that way you can turn around and get towards the center of the door just like you did when you came in here, except the opposite. Hold right again to get through the center of the door, and you can fit in 3 jumps to get out of here. You can fit in 1 jump here once again, and you're going to want to stay towards the left wall and this soda machine hallway. And this next section is pretty much just a straight hallway. You don't want your jumps to go from left to right or move around your camera a bunch here, because that's just going to extend your line. Pretty much just pick a line and stick with it. You can fit in 2 jumps to get to this glass door here, and then you want to turn left, and you can fit in 3 or 4 jumps to get to here. Once you're at this corner, turn right. You can fit in 1 jump here, turn right again to have the center of the door at the center of your camera, and jump towards the center of it. At which point you're going to want to jump to the edge here and turn right, and you don't want to jump here because it's going to kind of mess with your positioning. You can jump to the center of this door, move right, and then jump again once you've gone through it. Once you get to this corner, turn right again and jump to the center of this door. You can turn left a little bit and jump to the edge of this room, turn right, and you want to kind of aim towards the lockers so that way there's no chance of you getting put into crouch from landing on one of these chairs. Turn left coming out of this room, and you're going to want to kind of stay on the left side so that way you can get in good positioning to jump to the center of this big door. You can fit in 1 jump to the button once you're through the door and mash X to access it. Now the positioning here I'm not quite sure of, but your goal is to basically stand in front of where Alex is going to be, such that when you're walking forward, she pushes you forward as well. After you've gone through the door and possibly gotten pushed by Alex, you want to fit in a few jumps going up to these boxes. But once you're at the boxes, don't jump again because you'll end up facing the wrong direction. Once the cutscene ends, yeah, I'm going to leave that in. But once it ends, you can fit in another jump to get into the next cutscene, and here it's kinda RNG based, kinda position based. It's pretty much just random. If Alex stands in front of you, you want to hold forward. If she doesn't, you want to hold backwards and mash jump, so that way when she starts talking, you jump, but you move in the direction you want to go in. Once she's done talking, you can turn around and head towards this button with a few more jumps. After accessing it, you want to walk into the corner here. Not the angle I'm doing. You want to turn a bit more left so you don't end up hitting the next wall. This part is kind of something you're going to have to feel out. There isn't really a cue for it, but if you jump at the right time, you're going to end up going through this door instead of having to turn around and look at Alex when she talks. Once you're able to move again, go around to this thing here, and you can fit another jump to get to the burger. You really want to make sure you're past this chair. Otherwise, this chair will block you from eating the burger, and it'll kill your run. And like that, once your hand has fully disappeared after consuming the burger, congratulations, you have just completed the burger percent run for Breakdown.
Whoa!